Hey everyone, how's it going? Cell here. Welcome back to day 2 and 3 progress for the Boneshatter Juggernaut in Soul Self-Found Crucible. Sitting at level 90 now as of time of recording. Footage here is probably from between level 85 and 90. Still rocking the 4-link and the mace I've had since Act 8, and that has not hindered progress really, surprisingly. So I've been progressing up through red maps now, doing my corrupted rare red maps for completion, and up to about 80 maps complete in total. And you see me in the background doing the Black Star. Also did the Infinite Hunger as well, working my way up towards the bosses of Eater and Exile. And it's been going pretty smoothly, I would say, considering the current gear I have. It is a little slower once you get up to red maps. I'm not stunning things even remotely as easily, even though I have some stun passives going on and a decent weapon. Just the lack of damage from links and a better weapon are noticeable for sure. But in a league start scenario, it is all that you can hope for, I think, to just be able to do the content, even if it is a little slower or a little sketchier in softcore, so the dying isn't going to matter that much. I do die occasionally, mostly to charging up the Crucible too much. I'm not yet able to handle the fully charged Crucible in higher tier maps, but you're also not really meant to this early on. You know, at this point in Sanctum, I was not chaining full runs of the Sanctum. It was a lot sketchier. There was a knowledge component as well to Sanctum, but this one's more of a gear check, and in a league start scenario, you don't really have gear going on. So the encounters will definitely get much easier as time goes on. Regardless of that, Atlas progression has been going pretty smoothly. Like I said, about 80 maps complete, and my main focus Atlas passive-wise has been on Expedition, classic starter investment for solo self-found. There's just a lot you can do with Expedition, so I've been focusing on Rog and Danig, couldn't remember his name, and sprinkle some Tujin in there as well. Gwenin is not really a thing until later on, if ever, because nerfs and whatnot, so haven't been doing anything with her, but the other three definitely, and I'll show off a little bit of loot from that. Haven't run any logbooks yet. I will probably do that after this video, and yeah, just looking to build up some currency, hopefully get some ROG crafted gear. Haven't put too much effort into actually refining my gear and getting upgrades and things like that, so looking to pull back a little and upgrade a few pieces of gear for defensive benefits and offensive as well, of course. And on that front, also have gotten a handful of Eldritch currency to add implicits to things, but most of my implicits are not that good because they're random, and I've only had a handful, so hopefully as I get into higher tier maps and am able to grind out some more altars and things like that, I can pick up some more Eldritch currency and get some better implicits. So still no +1 strike or anything like that. The clear has still been fine, in my opinion. It probably looks like the slowest thing ever to you, depending on who you are, this footage in the background right now, but it has felt fine to play, at least for me, which is what matters most to me. So either way, it'll be great, I'm sure, to get that extra strike in there for even smoother clear. And apart from Expedition on the Atlas passives, I have kind of a mixed focus into Heist, Strong Boxes, and Essence. I only really have the first Essence node. I think I'd have trouble dealing with the more juiced essences right now, so haven't invested beyond that. And strong boxes are an easy way to get fusing, so after I kind of ran around the tree and picked up some high stuff, I'm like, oh, I probably should have gone for strong boxes first, picking up the extra strongbox, the operative strongbox chance, and the corrupted rare strongbox node. And that is a recipe for potentially getting some 6-links, either to use or to sell for fusings to make other 6-links. So I'll probably stay spec'd into those for the time being, hoping to land some of those. I do have a 5-link now, at the time I'm recording this post-commentary, that I got at level like 89 and 50%, so it was like an hour ago. Got it on a decently usable base, a dex strength base. The armor is really low. I lost like 7k armor by putting it on, but I feel like the damage boost from having a 5-link is theoretically big enough that it's something I want to give up a little bit of defense for, since I think I'm more slanted in the defensive way than in the offensive way, at the moment at least. That said, there are still some things I could do to improve my defenses. Late game, I'm going to see about getting the new body armor that makes your chaos or armor apply to chaos damage, and try to fit in a divine flesh timeless jewel as well to take 50% of elemental as chaos, and then have all of my armor applied to that 50%, and then 8% apply to the remaining 50% that remains elemental. That might actually be a reason to go with another ascendancy as well. So if I really want to push Boneshatter specifically into the end game with that type of setup, then I could try another ascendancy as well, and I just might do that. Anyways, I think I'm going to get in game and talk about the character a little more in there. Alright, back in game, and as I mentioned, I did end up getting a 5-link. Here it is. Coloring it was kind of a pain, because it is a hybrid base, so I wanted 5 red, kind of rare to get, but that allowed me to slot in Brutality, so that's my 5th link so far, along with Melee Fizz, Ruthless, and Fortify. Nothing at level 20 yet, so no flips. I do think I have some GCPs in here somewhere. Never mind, I have 1 GCP, but I have some quality gems sitting in here, so I should be able to vendor my way up to a handful of GCPs. With the 40% recipe, weapon still the same, added more sockets just to fit more utility in, so I have Maim on my totems now. Berserk as well. Not super good uptime, I just press it in like the last few seconds of taking down a map boss or something. Rings did get a couple upgrades here. These are both pretty good, just life and res for the most part. This one has 44 dex, which is great for accuracy and stat requirements. Gloves, I think these are new. A lot of attack speed, 19% is pretty big. And I actually had these gloves I got from Rog. Not those ones, these ones. With 587 accuracy, more life, more res, that I was considering switching to, but the damage decrease and like the feel of losing that 19% attack speed is going to be too much right now, I think, so probably not going to go with that. Other stuff, this is like less good ROG stuff. This one had int, accuracy, life, res, potentially usable for something. This body armor is pretty decent. 19 spell suppression, 6% PDR, and no life mods. So I could craft armor and evasion on this percentage increase, and it would still not have a life mod, and then I could pick up the 15% life mastery instead. And that's kind of what I want to do on an endgame armor, but on a pure strength base, most likely. Just to stack as much armor as possible. That'll then get doubled by the Jugg Ascendancy. And one thing about my gearing right now is I have no suppression on gear at all, and I might end up keeping it that way. Right now my character sheet will say I have 27% suppression. Go to the tree here. Okay, obscene lag right now. I don't know what's up with my computer. Courage gives you 15% if you've hit an enemy recently. And I'm like, alright, you know what? This is softcore, and I already have to hit stuff to have Fortify up, so the condition of hitting something isn't that big of a deal to me. I might die because of it, but again, doesn't really matter. And then I have a lucky spell suppression chance, so 42%, that's also lucky, is pretty good as far as I'm concerned. Panopticon, picked that up pretty recently, so tooltip, even though that doesn't really tell the whole story. 104k on Boneshatter at the moment. A little more even, because Blood Rage and all that. Like, even Blood Rage's 14% is quite a big increase to the amount of damage you're dealing. So, anyways, the build feels really good, especially with Flask up. Right, forgot what my Leap Slam key is. Pretty fast Leap Slam. You know, you just jump around, you blink as well, you hit stuff, it blows up pretty much. And yeah, everything's good. Also using an Immortal Flesh, good life regen, good mana regen, negative res, but fizz damage taken, or minus 49 fizz damage taken as well, which is pretty nice. And that's especially nice because that happens after armor. So you'll do the big percentage reduction, and then once you start taking that damage post reduction, this 49 is subtracted from that. So in this case, that's beneficial. As far as armor goes, 28k. This was my previous armor, and I'm sitting at 35k. That's if I'm standing still and don't have Ignite, Frozen, or Shocked on me, which I definitely could. I'm not immune to any of those things. I can still get frozen. It won't slow me down, but it can still happen. With Totems up, 31k, Flask up, 41.6. It's quite a bit of armor. So I'm pretty happy with where that's at now, but obviously the more the better. It would be more elemental damage reduction. So always looking for more of that. Another note here, one of the reasons I picked up this node is the Mastery, immune to bleeding, if equipped helmet has higher armor than evasion. I have a pure armor base, so it does. Otherwise it's kind of finicky, like this base back here has higher evasion than armor, so I'd be immune to poison instead, which wouldn't be the worst, but bleed is generally just a bigger deal. And what that means is it allows me to run a different lesser Pantheon here instead of this one, which I'm probably going to switch to this instead of this. This is just, you know, straight up 5 PDR. This is 60% reduced shock effect, currently not immune, so between that and this flask, almost immune, good enough for me. And Tujin stuff, just to go over that. Decent amount of currency here, some, you know, gumball type stuff. And regrets, I may end up needing a decent amount of just to have more unmakings to switch on my Atlas tree. I mean, that shouldn't be a problem once I get further into red maps and can do altars, but I will need to actually get over there. I'm gonna jump through this gateway, pick up the keystone and whatnot, and the pack size, and this node over here, and probably this one. I usually spec out of this late, but when you need the embers early on, it's going to be helpful. And I started to block a couple things as well that I don't specifically need stuff from. Like Blight, I probably still want oils, so I'm not blocking Blight. But Ritual, Delirium, and Metamorph don't offer me anything I want right now, so I'm just not going for any of those. Then on the Crucible front, I kind of stopped doing Crucible for a little bit, but I'm back into it now. And what I'm doing is I'm collecting some higher level bases. I'm up to, you know, the item level 83 plus range now, so like this one was pretty low level. But now that I'm higher level and can potentially roll better mods on these base items, I'm picking up more weapons to throw into the Crucible just to check out the tree and see what it's like, to see if I want to proceed with crafting it or whatever else. Obviously most of them are not going to be good enough that I want to start crafting a whole nother weapon, but this one actually took to depth 5. Had some pretty decent stuff on it. I mean, +1 to socketed melee gems. I don't know if that applies to this. Let's check it out. It does indeed apply to supports, so potentially bigger damage multipliers from there if you hit certain breakpoints. Then more attack speed is good, 10%, quite a lot. This one is a negative for me. Hits against you overwhelm 12% of PDR. For Fizz Dot multi, not ideal. This one is reduced AoE, but increased AoE if you've killed at least 5 enemies, so if you have, that's a net 40% increased AoE. It's decent, but less decent for Boneshatter because it has built-in AoE scaling. Pride, Aura Effect, and Reservation. I would actually consider going for something like this if I thought I could fit the Reservation in, but I can't right now. I have Pride and Determination, and that just takes up too much. Can't even fit my banner in right now. Then over here at depth 5, hard to read because it's right under the cursor, but trigger level 20 bone corpses when you stun an enemy with heavy strike or bone shatter. And I'm like, oh, maybe this is like build enabling. What is that? So I go through the effort of leveling this thing up. All it does is spawn corpses. That's it. I don't immediately see what kind of build I would want that on. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's some corpse shenanigan I'm not thinking of or not familiar in because it requires specific items that I normally don't have in solo self-hound. But yeah, I thought that was funny. If I see a better depth 5 thing for Boneshatter, then I'll consider that. But right now I'm mostly just keeping this to potentially combine trees on. This node, the +1, the attack speed, and Pride are all pretty good. So if I could get those merged with something else, then I would strongly consider using that. Still rocking the same old one that basically just has the 9% attack speed. So, yep, that's about it. Don't think there's much else to go over. You may have seen I'm undercapped on resist. With my 3 endurance charges, I'll be capped. I'm comfortable enough sitting at this amount. And if I had a different belt, I'd be overcapped by a little bit, but curses are still a big deal, exposure and all that, even though it's less common. So still some problems to fix, still some progress to be made, and I'm just keeping on with it for now. Anyways, if you like the video, feel free to give it a like, comment, or subscribe to catch the next one, and I'll see you next time. Peace.